Well, hello, fellow romance researchers. Welcome to Love Scientists, where we help you with the data of dating and the chemistry of connections so you can be more successful in romance. And today we're taking a look at something that I believe intrigues us all on a romantic level is why do people fall for the rake? Think Casanova, Lord Byron, James Bond, that intense, seductive man or woman who's emotionally elusive but utterly irresistible. So what does science say about why so many people fall for the rake? Is it just fantasy or is there something hardwired in our brains? Science has a lot to say about it. All right, let's get started by talking about who is the rake. The rake is a classic literary or psychological archetype, a charismatic, intelligent, usually morally gray man or woman who intensely desires love but rarely commits. Psychologists would describe them as high in narcissism, low in agreeableness, and sky high in confidence. But here's the twist. They're still massively attractive to many, according to Buss and Shackelford in 1997 on evolutionary psychology and mate preferences. And this is that piece that makes us so intrigued. But why? Well, science says there's 10 reasons. First, the confidence effect. Confidence is one of the top traits linked to sexual attraction across all genders and love types. Rakes exude it. They know what they want and they make you feel wanted, according to Journal of Individual Differences, of Swami et al. In 2009. No matter what list you get of the top 10 most attractive things in anybody, confidence is always going to be near the number one. And when this archetype exudes that thing that everybody seems to desire, that's just touching the surface of why people are so attracted to the rake. But there's also the dopamine chase. The rake gives unpredictable rewards, a passionate night, the emotional distance. This creates a dopamine loop, the same one that powers addiction. According to Fisher, 2004, Why We Love, The Nature and Chemistry of Romantic Love, and also supported by Schultz et al. In 1997, Journal of Neuroscience. So it's literally a chemical addiction. And like many addictions, when you get that hit of that thing, like dopamine, and then it's taken away, you crave it, and then you get a hit of it again, and then it's taken away. It's the dopamine loop, and it's hard to escape. And thirdly, there's the scarcity principle. When someone is emotionally unavailable, our brains perceive them as more valuable. Rakes aren't clingy, they're elusive. That single thing, according to Cialdini 2001, influence, the psychology of persuasion, makes them extremely desirable. It's the same phenomenon that when you watch a show like The Bachelor, when there's one person who is available and there's 40 people that are after that person, they find themselves significantly more attracted to them and they've only shared a sentence or two with them, only because of that one thing, the scarcity principle. And there's the sexual strategy theory. Evolutionary psychologists suggest some men and women may subconsciously pursue short-term mates with high genetic fitness like confidence, charisma, and creativity, even if they happen to be poor long-term partners, according to Gangestad and Simpson 2000, Behavioral and Brain Sciences. And there's a whole other video we can do on how men and women will get attracted to somebody like this. And even though they're terrible long-term partners, there's this belief that somehow we can make them good long-term partners. But the worst part of all this is the dark triad advantage. Rakes often display traits from the dark triad: narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and shockingly, studies show these traits can increase short-term mate success, according to Jonason et al. 2009, Personality and Individual Differences. And even more shockingly is how unaware we are of humans of the danger of the dark triad effect, because people are very attracted to that. But narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, these are serious psychological problems. that could be devastating to you if you engage in a relationship with somebody that happens to be dealing with this issue. But then there's also the hypermasculinity appeal. Rakes often display extreme masculinity, risk-taking, dominance, assertiveness, all these. These traits are biologically linked to higher testosterone, which correlates with perceived attractiveness. According to Roney et al. 2006, Hormones and Behavior, psychologically, they seem more dominant, and it's that dominant trait that just happens to make them more attractive. And you can't ignore the fantasy factor. Men and women don't necessarily want to marry the rake. They may be drawn to the idea of taming them. It's a psychological drama of transformation and validation. According to Mazzarella and Pecora 2007, A Cultural History of Romantic Fantasy, as well as McAllard in 1969, The Poetics of Space, Psychology, Role of Fantasy, it's a psychological drama of transformation and validation that feeds them. They fantasize about this sort of thing, and it's fulfilling that fantasy and that desire that maybe they've always had. And most people that fall for the rake are going to be mirroring neurons and empathy triggers. According to Iacoboni in 2009, mirroring people, when someone shows intense focus on you, like a rake does during seduction, it activates mirror neurons that mimic emotional connection even if they're not real. You're setting up connections to this person that doesn't even really exist in their minds. You're the only one doing it. But it oftentimes means that even brings forward a deeper attraction because of, I wouldn't say the rejection, because they're definitely seducing you, but it's the unpredictability or the unknowing of whether or not this will even become something, which really leads to unpredictability equals excitement. According to studies by Whitchurch et al. In 2011, Psychological Science show that unpredictability in dating increases emotional intensity. When you don't know where you stand, your brain invests more. And rakes are going to give you this feeling every single time, which is really at the basis of why they're so irresistible to so many people, because they can't quite grab a hold of them. And finally, storytelling and seduction. Rakes are master storytellers. They create a narrative, one where you're the heroine, the exception, the adventure. This emotional narrative is scientifically shown to boost attraction, according to Green and Bach 2000 transportation theory. Most single people desire some sort of a great story in love, some sort of an adventure. And the rake is who tells that story to you, but it's typically a fictional story. So is it love or is it a trap? Well, science is clear. The rake is great for lust, but risky for love. The very qualities that make him or her sexy often make them terrible at long-term commitment. According to Campbell and Foster 2002, Self-Esteem and Relationship Functioning, your brain might be screaming yes, while your future self whispers run. So should you avoid the rake? Well, that depends. If you're looking for a fling, enjoy the fireworks. But if you want emotional safety, long-term love, and mutual growth, the rake might be more of a fantasy than a future. Remember, intensity isn't intimacy, and obsession isn't love. The rake is going to make you feel these ways, and it's important that you understand the difference between them. So there you go. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and remember, don't go into love blind. Use science and data to help you be more successful in romance.